why getting rejected by women is a good thing. Okay, it's not a bad thing like so many guys want to think it is. It's actually a good thing because getting rejected by a woman will force you to fix your mistakes. It will force you to reach down deep inside of you and look deep within yourself and ask yourself like what you're doing wrong so you can fix it so you don't keep repeating the same mistakes. The worst thing that I see guys do, they take rejection personal, right? I see a lot of newbies do this. Guy I'm just taking out, he's not used to doing cold approach, right? He's probably a little socially awkward. Typically the girls can feel that and they'll just reject you for that. Doesn't mean that they don't think you're cute. I mean, a lot of girls can think you're cute and still reject you, right? I've had a number of girls like, oh, you're cute. Oh, I'm not interested. But they take it personal. They never want to do it again, right? And this was really what led to the downfall of the pickup community to begin with in the, I want to say the late 2000s, right? Where people started turning against it. You had these factions form like MGTOW and Black Pill and all this. And then you had a lot of guys calling it a scam. I would always say to those guys, how many approaches have you done? What is your basis for this, that it's a scam? Oh, it didn't work. Okay, fair. How many approaches have you done? And it's usually like, I did like one once and she rejected me. I tried it like one time last summer. No, dude, that's not enough. It's like me going, hey man, leaving your 9 to 5 to start a business is all a scam. It's just a scam. How many businesses did you start? Well, I tried this one and I didn't get a single sale. I remember when I first started my business, I didn't know anything about starting an online business. I turned to a lot of these gurus, so to speak, that were around back then. One of them I remember was a guy named Jeff Walker. He had a product called Product Launch Formula. He basically taught you how to launch your first product. I wanted to see what was going on before I purchased it, right? Because it was pretty expensive. It was like $1,000 for this product. Didn't really have $1,000 for that back then. So I wanted to be like to waste on it. So I wanted to be careful what I bought. And so I went to a lot of forums to read up on who's this Jeff Walker guy and watch some internet videos, some YouTube videos. And I saw a lot of hater comments, right? I mean, I could see where people would get dissuaded. There were people like, it's all a scam, scam. Oh, these guys all know each other, blah, 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 right? All this, right? Big word here, scam. I was able to get like my hands on his program and I remember going, I'm just going to apply the techniques myself. I'm going to try this for myself to see, is this for real? Does it work? I want to try it for myself. And I tried it for myself. I applied exactly what he was talking about, exactly what he taught. I applied it to my own business when I was first launching it. And guess what? It worked. The more I learned it, the more I started to master it, and it started to work even better. Yeah, I don't really like to buy into this. Oh, it's a scam. Usually people are like screaming scam, or usually the losers who barely tried it and quit, or who never tried it and just read other people's reviews about it. That's a big thing I always ask. It's like, how many approaches have you done? How many approaches did you do last week? How many approaches did you do 2 weeks ago? Right? Because all the guys that I know, like my own wingmen these days, that are some of the best in the world, are dating beautiful women all around the world. If I asked them, how many approaches have you done this past week? They wouldn't even be able to count. Shoot, I don't know how many. Why do you want to know that, man? Can't count that hard, right? Because they're doing a lot of them. Whereas somebody who's going to know it's big, it's a scam. Scammers, scammers. How many approaches have you done? What are your results then so far? Like, what kind of women are you dating? Right? I haven't dated in 20 years. Okay, man, that's why you think everything's a scam. So just like with the Jeff Walker thing, all the people who are calling it a scam never even really try to apply it. The smart thing that I do is I try to look at the people who have succeeded at it, who were making money from it. And I just started to read and ask them, like, how did you do this? And what did you do? And a lot of these people were helpful. They were a lot more helpful than the people like, no, it's just a scam. Jeff Walker, scam. But when I asked the people who were actually applying it and how they applied it and what type of business they had, they were really gracious. And they were like, oh, this is what you want to do, dude. And then after you have your launch, you want to follow up with a secondary launch. They weren't like negative Nellies or Debbie Downers. They were like, do this. Try it. Just try it, dude. Just try it. And it takes practice, man, but you'll get it. They're like really encouraging. And I did that and it worked. And I'm rich now, because I didn't listen to the negative Nellies, right? Oh, it's scam. Just to get back to the point, this is why rejection is good, right? Because it teaches you to fix things in your game that need to be fixed, right? No different than if you had a business. That's the thing I love about entrepreneurship. You cannot lie to yourself. right? You have to be honest with yourself if you are going to succeed. If you have like a terrible business idea, unless you want to go broke, you could keep lying to yourself, or you could be honest with yourself and go, hey, this sucks. I need to fix this part, or I need to pivot when it comes to this. I did this recently on my 33 Secrets channel with the TikTok videos. I told you, I'm sick of these TikTok videos. I'm not doing them anymore. I did a whole video about it after I built the studio. I'm like, I'm not doing any TikToks in here. It's making me sick. I was welcoming the feedback. You have to tell me you're sick of it. I'm like, I'm sick of it too. Let's pivot. Let's do something else. You have to be willing to just be honest with yourself. When you get rejected by a girl, the biggest thing I always tell guys is to not take it personal. If you've been out there long enough, as I have, you'll almost be amused at how the rejections become very similar. There's nothing a girl can say to me anymore. I don't care how harsh, and I've had some really disgusting blowouts, right? Where the girl like really tried to annihilate me. It's now just kind of amusing, right? To get her, like, see a girl get so triggered just because I said hello. It literally says way more about that other person than it ever will about you. Right? And that's the way I look at it. I'm like, you're saying a whole lot about you, what type of person you are. I feel like I dodged a bullet by seeing this side of you. When a girl rejects you, you learn from that. I mean, the worst thing you can do is just be like, oh, she's a bitch. She's a bitch, man. Maybe she's a bitch, but also not take any blame for that, right? I mean, because there's always something you could have done differently, said differently. You have to be open to that. You have to be open to learning. You have this term in the PUA community called master pickup artist. We used to call it MPUA, master pickup artist. And I never really glommed onto that term. Sometimes I do it kind of like facetiously as a joke, but I don't look at myself like that, even though I am literally one of the best out there. I don't look at myself as that. I look at myself as a student of the game. I want to remain humble and I want to stay a student of the game. There's nothing the girl can ever do to shock me anymore. I see the same patterns of behavior play out week after week after week. It's no different than the 90s when I was going out partying. I mean, even as far back as like late 80s, I'm not that old. I see the same patterns of behavior. I see the same freaking the same girls outside of the nightclub at 2 a.m. when it's closing, crying over the guy, the boyfriend at home that dumped them, or the hot guy's not interested in them. They're outside the club and they're like in their mini skirt, crying and bawling, and the mascara's running, their hair's all screwed up, it starts raining. I mean, I've seen that same scene over and over and over for the last 35 years. Nothing surprises me anymore, right? The rejections, the blowouts, the girls who become attracted. I almost feel like I'm just doing laps on a NASCAR track. I'm just like driving and not even going 200 miles an hour. I feel like I'm going like 50 now. I've seen this over and over and over, but it's still amusing to me. I still teach this stuff. I love it. I love teaching guys who aren't aware of all this stuff. Whenever I get a new student who has no experience with women, it just makes me feel like it's brand new all over again. So that's why I continue doing it. I don't get bored, even though I see the same thing play out over and over and over and over. And I will tell you that the guys that I know have become very good with women, the best in the world, are also the best at rejection, right? They don't take it personal. They just look at it and go, okay, yeah, I should have said this differently. I should have said that differently. They don't go home and like, stupid, stupid, stupid. Oh, I'm so dumb. Why did I say that? It's so embarrassing. Instead, you just kind of like laugh at yourself and you go, all right, shoot, I'm not going to say that next time. I'm going to try this. Sounds cooler, sounds more suave, right? And then you let that rejection go that just happened that night, and then you move on to the next approach, right? Simple as that, and on to the next and on the next. You don't take any of this stuff personal, right? And really, that's how you become a master at this stuff, is you just don't take any of it personal. This is really how you master anything at life, right? You don't take any of it personally. All those businesses I started before I started my pickup business that made me rich, all these businesses that I started where I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars that I made in corporate America, where I ended up going broke and living in my car. All of those businesses, like, even as each one of those failed, I wasn't like, stupid. Well, maybe I did that a little bit, but I also was like, what did I do wrong here? What am I going to do differently next? I'm going to start another one. What do I do differently? Each time you do get rejected, it's a reference experience, as we call it. You're gaining these reference experiences that you could draw upon the next time you're talking to a girl. You can think back like, oh, I was about to say that. Nope, I got blown out last time. I'm not going to do it. Even if you do say it, you're like, I'm going to say this differently, whatever it was that got you blown out. There's so many moving parts to pickup artistry and game. I mean, there are girls that you could go like walk up to them, try to pick them up, and they will be really rude and just mean towards you. I've had that, just rude, mean, nasty. And then you happen to run into them again, like some of them I ran into literally the next night at the same venue. They've done like a 180. They're a completely different person. They're like, oh my gosh, I just want to tell you, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be like that last night. Oh, you must think I'm awful. But oh, I was going through all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. You know, and then I end up macking on the girl. Like, here, show me how sorry you are, girl. You cannot take this stuff personal. I mean, it's like if you are sparring with someone, right? So you're like sparring with someone or fake boxing or something, and you know, they punch you on the arm. Are you gonna be like, hey dude, you're gonna punch me on the arm? You know? No, you're just gonna be like, okay, no, you know, you're just gonna keep going. You're gonna keep boxing, right? You're gonna keep sparring. You don't take it personal. Like, hey, did you hit me on the arm because you're mad at me? None of it's personal, right? So don't take it personal. Don't get so hung up on these rejections, because rejection is actually good for you. All rejection is actually pretty good for you because you can learn from them. The time it's not good for you is when you let it eat you alive and you let it keep you from getting back out there and getting back on the horse. And this goes for anything you're doing. I'm not just talking about pickup, dating, and cold approaching girls. I'm talking about anything you try in life where you fail, which is basically rejection, right? You fail. The worst thing you can do is, you know, take your ball and walk away and leave the playground, right? Crying. No. You have to be stronger than that. You have to be tougher than that. And I know we're living in an environment where everyone's become a complete softie, right? Nobody can handle tough love anymore. Whatever happened to tough love? Jeez. But I'm old school like that. I'm a big proponent of tough love. Like if I have a student and he's, you know, basically just, oh, I can't do it, Em. I can't do it. I can't talk to her. I just can't do it. I have no sympathy for that. Like, why? Let's go. We'll do it together. I'll come with you. Right? Let's go talk to her. I'll come with you. I'll be right next to you. Whatever it takes to get that person to step up. That's all I want to say for tonight's coaching video is all rejection is good. There is no bad rejection. It's all good, guys. It's really the way you look at it. And like I've said, is a lesson not just for talking to women, success with women, but also success with life. You cannot be one of these blue pill beta pansies that we have too many of today that just quit, give up, play victim, talk about how they're disenfranchised or they're being oppressed. No tolerance for that. If you have 2 hands, 2 feet, you can win. No matter what it is. We just happen to be talking about pickup and dating, right? But especially with pickup and dating, especially with women. If you're doing something wrong, find out what you're doing wrong and fix it. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of guys, even though they'll continue to try to go out there, they will basically continue repeating the same mistakes, waiting for a girl to just not notice and accept them. You know, no, do not keep doing the same thing over and over, banging your head against a wall and not making any changes. Be willing to make changes. If there's something that's sucking in your game, you need to make changes, right? If there's something sucking in your business, you need to make changes. Don't just sit there and keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. You guys know that's called insanity, right? So as always, drop your comments below and I'll see you in my next coaching video.